I know some of you were with me on Monday, but in case you are not, I wanted to show you this depiction because we are starting a new series called Koshas. Now, koshas are not actually written in the Yoga Sutras, the basic underlying philosophy of yoga. This was actually written in the Upanishads, which are some ancient texts from India. And the koshas represent the different layers of our being. So the depiction I have here is just someone sitting in meditation, and it looks like a target is drawn in their torso. Now, it doesn't represent the torso. It represents just the idea of the physical form. The outermost layer is what we're on this week, which is called the Annamaya Kosha. And Annamaya Kosha means the food body or the physical structure of the body, what's tangible, what we see, what we can feel, what we can, touch at some point. There's going to be 4 other layers that we go through. And the idea is to get to the center of our being, which is what that dot represents in the middle, and it represents our soul or our Atman. So the koshas are said to be the sheets or the layers that cover this up. If you want to look at it as being, koshas being what cloaks the soul. So if you just think about in wintry months, we tend to layer up. You know, if you're going to get your child bundled up because there's been a 12-foot snowstorm that's come through, you're probably going to put multiple layers on their body, unless they have ski-type clothing. But this is just one at a time. You have to peel those layers off once you get back indoors and get back inside where it's warm, right? So it's the idea of peeling back the layers of our being to find the true self, to find what's really important. And that physical layer is the surface layer. That's the skin, the bones, the muscles, the tissues, all that that's in-housed in this physical aspect of the body. Because we're focused on the physical body this week, Monday I did a mini yoga practice, which is all about movement with breath, consistent movement in and out of poses. It was more functional, less anatomical as far as precision was concerned. This week, I'm also going to be including the flow aspect of Ashtanga, which is kind of the beginnings of the vinyasa practice. So we're going to start off flowing with the sun salutations to warm up the body. And then we're going to hold poses in some stillness where I can break it down a little bit more anatomically on how to do the pose, a little bit more of the structure. And then we're going to move into the sitting postures. And the sitting postures today, I'm going to add in some that's not Ashtanga based at all, because today is a new moon, and the new moon is in Pisces, and the ruler of Pisces is Neptune. Neptune is said to be the god of water. Pisces is a water sign. It's depicted by a fish. So because the water element is recognized with the second chakra, we're going to do a lot of hip openers in our practice today once we get to that portion. And then we'll steepen those poses and really get some deep stretches there. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. And we'll begin sitting upright, creating an elongation in the vertebrae, letting the arms drape down to the lap, and the lids to drape down over the eyes. Just paying attention now to whether or not you're swimming around in your head or if you are, in fact, grounded in your body. Most of us are often swimming around in the head. So go ahead and begin to focus down at your feet. And feel the contact that your feet has against your mat. The angle of your thighs beneath your hands. This may be dependent on whether or not you're sitting on something, and also any tightness that you may experience in this region. You may find that the angle of your thighs are pointed downward if you're sitting up on a bolster. You may find that if you're just sitting on the floor, the legs are angling slightly upward. Or you may find a happy medium where the thighs are sloped straight ahead. Now pay attention to your seat. We have two sits bones coming down from the pelvis. See if you can connect to each one. Sitting on top of the sits bones and imagining that roots are growing down from your sits bones, down through the foundation of this building, into the rich soil below. Once you feel tethered to the earth, come back up to your body. Notice if your spine's beginning to slump around, and if it is, extend it again. As though someone has a rope coming up through the spine, pulling the crown of the head up towards the rooftop. Even though your neck is lengthening, let your shoulders soften. Drop down away from the earlobes. Now that you've tuned a little bit more into your body, activate the Ujjayi Pranayama, where you constrict the back of the throat and allow the breath to become a little bit more audible to hear. This is often called the oceanic breath. And since the new moon is in Pisces today, let's focus on bringing this water element, the sound, into the breath, as well as opening up some fluidity in the body. Let's go ahead and crack the eyelids open. Now that we're a little bit more connected, let's come up to stand. I'm gonna send that away. Your stance at the top part of your mat, grounding and broadening the base of the feet. Bringing your hands to what we call the salutation seal, which is Anjali Mudra. Think about your personal intention for being here today. My intention of teaching you about these layers of our being. You can set your intention to practice with care and compassion. Let's begin to move. Inhale, expand the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, begin to dive down into your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen up halfway. Exhale is going to take us back to plank and drop us to chaturanga at the same time. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. And as you exhale, tuck the toes and roll over the feet and come to downward facing dog. Now in downward facing dog, holding for 5 breaths. Your 5 breaths may be different than mine. Yours may be deeper or more shallow. Yours may be quicker or slower. On your next in-breath, go ahead and step the feet to the top of the mat, arrive up halfway, radiating the heart, and then exhale, bow back down and in. Inhale, we're gonna root the feet, come all the way up to the top. Exhale, bring the hands home sweet home to the hearts. All right, we do a few more of those. Inhale, the arms reach overhead. And as we exhale, we're hinging from the hip crease instead of the waist. Once you bow over, inhale, sprout halfway up. Your hands can always prop to your legs if it's too much to be to the floor. And on the out breath, we're stepping to plank and lowering to a low push-up, elbows squeeze in. The inhale lifts us into upward facing dog, and the exhalation carries us back to downward facing dog. Now, downward facing dog, the foundation here is not just the hands, even though that's the primary emphasis. It also resides in the feet. So you're pressing through your hands and feet in order to get your sits bones as high as possible to be the peak of the pose. And that's where we're sending the energy up and through. The head is bowed between the arms. We're casually looking back towards the feet or the space between. Inhale, let's come to Ardha Uttanasana, that's at the top of the mat. Lengthening the spine, creating a little space. And on the out breath, we close back in. Inhale, reach to rise up. Exhale, hands to prayer position at the heart. We continue with a couple more. Inhale, open up. Exhale, close back in. Inhale, notice its expressive nature. Exhale, we're letting go. So we're descending down towards the floor. Try to hover. Inhale, defy gravity and move up. And exhale, roll it on back. This is where we hold and breathe. So they say being inverted is like an oil change for the body. Think about how important that is for the vehicles that we drive. Well, our body is this vehicle in life. This is what carries us from one place to the other. That helps us to take steps forward into action. The house or the residence of the soul. Inhale, let's plant the feet at the top of the mat, shine the heart forward and out. Exhale, drape back down. Inhale, coming all the way up. Arms reach to the sunlight. And then exhale, feel as though you're catching one of those rays and blending it with your own inner light. Inhale, open up. Exhale, fold as you hinge from the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen out halfway. Now exhale, you can step to plank like we've been doing. You can also try bouncing back to that low push-up. That usually comes with a little bit more practice, but you're always welcome to try. Once you return to down dog, be absorbed by your breath. So even though we're focused on the Annamaya Kosha, it's important that we're not only feeding our body healthy, nutritious foods to take care of it, but think about other things that take care of the body. Regulated sleep, proper amounts of rest, decreasing stress levels. And the breath plays a super important role as well. Inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, close that gap between the two halves. Inhale to the top. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, we're going to move on to B, Sri Namaskaras. So this one starts with chair. In chair pose, if your knees go way past your toes, shift your thigh bones back so that you can see the toenails at least. Draw up through the navel, up through your side waist, up through your side lats. Exhale, fold over straight legs. Inhale, pick yourself up halfway. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to up dog. It's the same type of vinyasa flow, except instead of holding the first down dog, we step the right foot forward. We drop the back heel downward, and then we come up. And the arms are creating that shape of the back end building in downtown Nashville. Push down through your back half and heel. Draw up through the navel. Feel the left side of your glutes get a little firmer. Exhale, hands down. Return to the flow. And then from your second down dog in the sun sow, we step the left foot forward. the back heel lowers, and we climb up, warrior one to the other side. And then if you notice, your hips are kind of clocking to the side. You want to roll your right foot forward. So it's your shoulders, your chest, your hip points facing the front wall. Exhale, hands down. Third vinyasa in this particular flow. Notice hopefully the body's getting a little less stiff. A little more pliable and flexible. And this is where we return back to the breath. So I know with new moon energy, sometimes our energy levels can be slightly lower, but you can fuel yourself with this prana. The prana that I speak of comes in with breath. Inhale, land the feet at the top of the mat, however you want to arrive is fine. Exhale, release the head and heart. Inhale, Utkatasana. Check the alignment here with your feet, with your legs. Core support. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, typically we do 5 of each, we're just doing 4. Okay, inhale to chair. Exhale, fold over straight legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen out. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Continue to maneuver through the flow of postures. The right foot leads to warrior one. The same sequence in this particular style. Then we move right back into it. And if you're feeling the lack of energy, feel free to skip a vinyasa and you can hold down dog or child. Left foot leads to the next warrior one. It's gonna get more interesting later. We're just in our repetitious phase right now. Exhale, fold. You'll find this is a more kind of masculine practice when we have this consistent movement. Things like yin and restorative help to bring in the feminine, the more passive nature of yoga. We need the balance of both. Inhale, feet to the front, heart wide open. Exhale, bow out. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to heart. How are we doing? Couple more. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, drop and hover. Inhale, straight arms, open throats. Exhale, rock and roll back, neutral neck. Inhale, right foot through, stamp the back foot down. Come up for warrior one. What are we currently receiving? Exhale, hands down. Breath and all this. Try to maintain control. Left foot leads warrior one. Going right back in. We often compare surfing with vinyasa type yoga. Think of the mat as being your board. You're riding the waves of your breath. Become one with the element. The surfer has to become one with the water. See if you can become one with this flow. Inhale, step it through. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, one more of these, y'all, and we're moving on. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, create some space, like you're coming up for air out of the water. And then exhale, you're diving right back in. Inhale, you're coming up for air. Exhale, rock and roll back. Right foot steps through. Finding your balance, finding your breath, keeping your focus, and release. Left foot steps through next. Notice your body's getting a little bit more familiar with the flow. And then last one. We'll be pausing in down dog to recollect our breath. Slow the heart rate down. To slow down any spinning wheels in your mind. Kelsey, I like the way your arms look now. Before there was a little bit more hyperextension. Beautiful. Good. Inhale, bring the feet through to the top of the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, we're gonna move on. Hands to the hips, pop the feet apart, shoulders roll back. Exhale, we're coming forward, but we're gonna lace the first two fingers around each toe. Then the elbows are gonna fan away from your body, giving you a little breezeway under the arms. And then try to sink the chin more towards your chest. As though you're trying to look towards your belly button. Don't strain your neck. Push through the feet to lift through your sits bones. And then inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, take your hands, flip them open and set them underneath your feet. You're literally standing on your hands. Now this is a nice counter position for all the weight bearing we've done on the wrist. So let the toes come to the crease of the wrist. Tip your weight forward towards your toes and wrists. And then again, drop the chin in towards your chest. Breathe into your back lungs. And remove the hands one at a time. Bring them back to your waist. Be heavy in your feet to slowly come up. Feet joined together. All right, you're going to be turning to face the front door. You're stepping back with your right foot. Have a nice wide space in between the feet. Good, your right foot is going to rotate to the back of the room. Your arms are going to float up, shoulder high, just follow Ken. Lengthen out through your right side body, over the right leg, keeping it straight. Hand down to the shin, left arm skyward. Good, stacking and rolling open through that top shoulder. Fanning the fingers wide on the upper hand so it's energized. Trying not to dump your weight into the bottom hand, even though it may be resting on the leg. We're trying to make long linear lines, the shape of a triangle. So in astrology right now, there's lots of triads. They call them stallions, like 3 planets being in different placements together. And those 3 represent mind, body, spirit. The 3 represents mother, father, child. Inhale, let's come up. Turn the right foot in. Left foot's gonna rotate out. Good, push your hips towards the back wall and lean your rib cage out over the left side. And then bring it down. Let your right hand shine up. Keep the neck in line with the rest of your spine so the head's kind of balanced between the shoulders. Open up space for the diaphragm, the center of your torso. And inhale, draw up. Relax your arms. Turn your left foot in, your right foot out. You're gonna lunge the right knee and allow that shin to be perpendicular to the floor. Roll open through that thigh and rest the elbow on top. Notice when we're leaning the weight this direction, we tend to forget about the back leg. So push your left thigh bone back, really bury the back foot firmly into the floor, and then take that left arm and reach it across the side of the face, rotating the pinky down to rinse out the shoulder. That's it. Think about drawing a line from your back foot through the top hand. Feel as though you have this electric surge coming up from the earth, reaching out into the world, or from the world coming through the hand and radiating down the body back to the earth. Inhale, come up. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. Lunge that knee. That knee may want to collapse in if you have a weak inner quad or knee. So we want to strengthen it. In order to strengthen it, we need to externally rotate the thigh. We need to have the clear view of the big toe. Prop onto the leg. Push your right thigh bone back. Glue the back foot down. Reach the right arm over the face. Spin the pinky down to face the floor. Keep the belly kind of rolling open. You can do that by using the leverage of the left arm to spiral the navel towards the front door. Good. Inhale, let's rise up. Relax your arms. Left foot turns in, right foot turns out. Now I'm going to do this, and you can follow me if you want. I'm going to pick up my back heel. I'm going to set the left elbow to the outer portion of the right knee. The hands come together to prayer position, and I'm twisting to the right. Squeeze the right hip in, push the knee into the elbow. Notice the change in difference it makes. All right, exhale, we're going to spin out. Let's go ahead and place the hands beside the right foot. You're going to slowly straighten out the front leg the best you can. If you need to come to fingertips instead of being on flat palms, that's perfectly fine. Roll the left hip around towards your right heel. And then reach the right arm towards the back wall that you're facing. And then slowly clockwork it up towards the sky so that you're twisting to the right again. This is a different variation, but I like this variation. All right, exhale, right hand down. Lunge that knee just in order to ground your back foot. Float your hands up safely, come up to stand. Good, now that your feet are parallel again, left foot will turn to face the front towards me. The right heel is going to lift off the floor. We're going to crank the right elbow to the opposite side of that front knee. Hands to prayer position at the heart. Squeeze the left hip in. Kick your back thigh up. Exhale, unwind. Let your hands frame the front foot. Now you can face me. Straighten out the front leg. So flat palms may be accessible, but you may find that you can get more extension through your back on your fingertips. And we need that extension of the spine if we're going to do the twist. You might be able to do that with flat hands. Just check it out. All right, take your left arm forward. Slowly clockwork it up. You may feel a tremendous pull in that IT band. You may not feel anything at all. Instead of curling the head in towards your chest and the head around towards the left hip, create space. Exhale, lower the left hand down, lunge that knee. Instead of coming up, we're going to walk the hands around, turn the feet to be parallel again, and we're going to lower the head. Slide the hands back. Let the crown of the head face the floor. And there's many different variations here. There's typically 4 variations in Ashtanga, but we're not doing exact Ashtanga, so we're just going to do this simple one today. You're trying to keep your legs straight. You're trying to pull the kneecaps up. Notice when you engage and lift your kneecaps, it's also going to activate your quads. So those are the supporting muscles for the hamstring stretch. Inhale, walk your hands out. Lift your head halfway. Let that blood flow kind of even out so you don't become lightheaded or dizzy. That probably wouldn't happen, but occasionally it does. Especially if you haven't had food yet this morning. All right, bring your hands to your hips. Slowly come up. All right, the left foot's going to turn, and then we'll take that large step forward. All right, sometimes with Ashtanga, start to get a little crampy in the soles of the feet. So yeah, stretch or walk them out if you need to, if that's happening. All right, we're going to do a simple tree today. Bend your right knee. Open out from the hip. The foot can rest on the floor to your calf, or you can help it out. Bring it to the upper part of your thigh. You're pushing the two together. And then extending the arms. And this is too close to a wall. Plays with you. Something about the shade of the color and the shadows kind of sucks you in. I had to come out. That was weird. That was really weird. Okay, go ahead and release down. I'm going to face this direction for the left side. All right, open up from the hip and determine where you want your foot to be. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. Just see what's possible. And then lift the arms, creating your branches. So release your arms and foot. Man, you're rocking that. Wow. Okay. Bend the knees again. We're going to lift the right foot, cross it over the left knee. Flex that foot on top. Bring your hands to prayer and then sit a little deeper. Gaze at one spot on the wood floor in front of you. Beautiful. Inhale, push through the left foot to rise and lower the right. All right, other side. Bend the knees. Hips back. Elevate your left foot. Cross it on top. So what I mean by flex foot on top, if your foot's just relaxed, that's not flexed. This is the dorsiflexion where you're pushing out through the heel, you're sliding open through your toes. And then ankle bone to thigh bone, sitting a little deeper, finding your drishti or focal point. Inhale, come on. All right, back in the flow, and then we're coming to sit. Inhale, take your Utkatasana, except this time we're backing up the heart, shooting the arms skyward, placing the palms together, and gazing up towards the hands. If that aggravates your shoulders or neck, leave it out and do this first version that we started with. Breathe. Exhale, we hinge. Inhale, we open halfway. Exhale, we take chaturanga. You can step through plank first and then lower. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale to your forward fold. And this is where we're going to come through to sit. But before we take a full seat, I want us to move towards a pigeon. So let's lift the right leg up. Let's swing the shin through just behind the hands. Slide your left foot back. Good, and then release down and over. You can stop anywhere along the way, or you can plummet all the way down to the ground. We're going to take 5 breaths. Now you may want to stay in this pose longer, but we are going to be getting into the hip. So let's inhale, slowly come up. Lean to your right hip. Bring the left leg around in front. Dana Shasana first, arms reach. Exhale, close down over the leg. So instead of just folding, when you just fold naturally, you kind of hang out to the inside of the leg. But when we're folding, we actually want to pivot over the straight leg. So there's just a little bit of a rotation in the waist and navel to get there. Inhale, let's come up. We're going to take a hold of the right foot, and you have options. One option would be a hand hold to the knee and ankle. Another option is to hook the arms under the calf. And your third option, if it's possible, is to wrap your arms around the foot and the knee. They're all good. And we're going to do cradle to leg pose. So as you inhale, lift your crown. And as you exhale, you're using your arms to pull and squeeze the leg in towards your heart. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze it in. All right, let's do 5, because since we're getting inspired by Ashtanga, not really doing Ashtanga, they usually hold the poses for 5 breaths towards the end. All right, and then we'll hold for 5 breaths here and rock the baby. All right, we're going to take the underside of that right heel and the left hand to the top of the foot to see if we can stack it on that hip crease. You got it. Good. Right arm will circle. You can also twist your way around in order to find your foot. You still might be not able to find the foot, and that's all right. Just take your hand as far across your back as possible. Turn to face the front of the room. Elevate your left arm, and then exhale, you're hinging down. So think about the low push-ups we were doing. This is a nice counter stretch for that. What we're receiving with this right shoulder. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release your back arm. And slowly come up. All right, we're not done with this. If you can keep the foot here, you're gonna slide your left foot in. And you're gonna look like this because we're just on both sits bones. But to go to the next phase, we need to come over just to the right side of our seat, you see? And you may still have some padding down, but you're not gonna feel the weight on your left side. If that's too funky, or if it hurts, or you're having to lean too far over, then just drop your foot down to the underside of your left ankle instead. Because this is where we're going next. We're reaching the arm through the inside of the left knee. We twist the arm and bind it in front of the shin. The right arm is gonna circle towards the back of the wrist. Maybe the hands can greet each other. It's okay if they can't, no big deal. But then we fold over the lap and the head bows. So again, it may be too much for your foot, it may be too much for your ankle, it might be too much for your knee or your hip or your back. And that's where we let the right foot slip away and lower down to the floor. All right, inhale, coming up, removing your hands, extending your left leg, lifting the right knee, planting the foot to the other side. Okay, taking a twist, hug that knee in, lift up through your chest. Hand wraps around behind your back. You're squeezing the knee in at the same time you're stacking onto the back hand. And with your arm being so far forward like that, Kelsey, I'm looking at you. If you can do this, open up your palm, you might be able to hook the hand under. Oh yeah. Take the right arm behind your back. You might be able to join hands. If you can't, that's okay, but you looked ready for it, which is why I thought you could try.
Got a little finger grip.
Yeah. Just takes it a little step deeper. All right, let's release. Crisscross, hands press, step to downward facing dog. Unless you want that vinyasa, you can go for it. All right, left leg lifts. Exhale, swing it on through behind the hands. Slide your right leg back. We're starting off with pigeon. Kim's like, I did it. I won't break back rest. I have not met many women who don't love this pose. But I've met a lot of men who don't like this pose. Regardless if you warm up to it or not, sometimes the poses that we resist are the ones that we actually need. And then to maintain the 5-breath standard, we'll go ahead and come up. Bring that right leg around for Janu Sirsasana. We're basically doing that same sequence now to this side. Inhale, the arms reach overhead. Exhale, slightly dial your torso over in that direction as you fold. Inhale, let's rise. And so scoop up underneath the foot, carry it over to your right thigh. That's the safest way to do it. Left arm will circle behind you. If you do the twist, you might be able to find the foot. Don't worry if you can't. Right arm then extends alongside your ear. And then as you exhale, fold. Traditionally, I kind of look out towards the foot, but I know a lot of us get a massive amount of tension in the neck and to the shoulders. And I found that if I bow my head here, I can stretch out that area that gets really tense, especially in the winter. When we're cold and we're kind of hunching the shoulders towards the ears. Inhale, let's rise halfway first. Remove that back hand. All right, we glide the right foot in. And then this is where we shift our weight to the left side of our seat. And then if that just gets too complicated or painful, right? It's not worth it. Drop the left foot down to the floor. Let's get back in. Right arm's gonna reach to the inside, and then we bind the arm in front of the shin. The hands can clasp, and we bow. So you can be upright or lower with the hands coming together, it doesn't matter, but we do eventually bow forward. This is one of the pretzel poses. And then inhale, come up. All right, exhale, slide your right leg long, lift the left knee, flatten the left foot, hug it in with the right arm. I forgot to do the cradle hold and all that, rock the baby. Can we do that first? Oh, sorry, I meant to do that before lotus. Hand hold, scoop, or cradle. All right, inhale, lift to the crown, exhale, squeeze. If you ever catch me skipping something in a sequence, I do not mind. My ego does not get bruised. I want to know so that we can get everything in the same way or in a similar way. All right, now rock the baby. That would have helped with that lotus though. Oh well.
It's amazing to me how different sides feel so different.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Yeah, my right shoulder, it's always my right shoulder and my left hip that are my brief points. All right, well, now we're ready for the twist. Hug the knee in, left arm circles behind. Yeah, Kelsey, and one side's always different. So if you want to try the arm to the outside of the knee. That's it, yeah. And the only suggestion would be lift your sternum. Yeah, do you see how that corrected your posture? Nice. All right, exhale, let's unwind from that twist. And we're gonna bring the soles of the feet together. Feet together, but opening out like a book. We're gonna prepare the hips for full lotus, since you did have so well today. Lift up through your heart and then exhale, bow over your feet. Now, most women, and I'm looking around the room, and that includes all of us, take the arms and stretch them out. Most women tend to be more open in the hips. Notice how stretching the arms out stretches the spine out, which gives you more sensation in your thighs and hips. If it's not wanted, you can back up. If you desire more and your body allows, you can walk the arms out, you can lower your head down. And we're gonna back it on up. All right, so usually with Ashtanga, we didn't do the full Ashtanga. But when we do, we start off with the sun sounds, we do some balancing poses, we come to seated poses, and then we go to inverted poses. I thought since new moon in Pisces, it would be nice to do fish. And we're gonna try it from a lotus. So straighten out your legs. Take a moment to lean into your hands and just rotate your feet. And then rotate the other direction. It does require some work with the ankles. And if the full lotus doesn't work for your body, I want you to do fish with straight legs. But let's try it. Take your right foot first, place it on the hip crease of your left leg. Yep. And then slide your left foot towards you, but not all the way in. Good, because now you're going to lean forward and notice how the right knee dips. And that puts you in a better position to scoop under the left foot to see if it can slip now onto the other thigh. If that's pretty easy, if it feels okay, then you're going to stay. If it's too complicated, come out. And what you're going to do is stay in lotus for those of you that need it. You're going to do fish this way. But we're going to try it from here. Okay, so it's a little different because we're not going to be sitting on the hands. So watch me first. I'm coming to the forearms, but then I'm going to try to drop my knees, pick up my heart, and bow the head back. So try it out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're giving a nice burst into your heart center, boosting it up. Now, if you crawl your hands and elbows forward, Amanda, like I kind of cup a hold of my thighs sometimes here. Yeah, and then arch back. Yeah, it's a little bit better, right? All right, from fish, after 5 breaths, lift your head first, and then lean to one forearm, and then your hands can help to elevate you back up to sit. All right, we're gonna take the hands behind the back. Now you could do one of two things. You could bring the fingertips together, palms together to reverse prayer. If that's too much for your wrist, crisscross your arms. Now, this is sometimes called the perfect pose, but it's only called the perfect pose when your hands can wrap around and hold each foot. I can't do that. So I do it this way. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold. So take a deep breath in. As we exhale, we bow. And you may have to have some core support. You may be hovering your head. Some people like to put a prop under the head. Some people can land to the floor. 5 breaths. After your 5, releasing your hands, releasing the feet and the legs. And then you may want to rotate your feet again several times one way and the other. All right. If you have a bolster, I would suggest this for today's practice of Shavasana. Which was our final inversion. So if you turn the bolster up underneath your knees, it will flatten out your low back a little bit more. And let your hands rest on your abdomen.
So this week we have focused on the Annamaya Kosha. And I want to remind you, Maya means illusion. So it's the illusion of thinking that our physical body is the true self. The physical body is not the true self. It houses the true self. The physical body is just like a layer of clothing. So in this moment, we're going to try to relax the physical body. I'm going to talk you through beginning at the feet. As you breathe in, bring your attention to your feet. And as you breathe out, imagine you're washing away any stress, tension, illness, or fatigue away. Now bring your attention up through the lower half of your legs. As you breathe out, imagine you're washing out and away any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. Your next breath in, bring your attention to the upper half of your legs. Breathing out any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. Let your next in-breath bring you to your pelvic floor, low belly, low back. As you exhale, visualize you're sending any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. Your next in-breath, bring your awareness into the midsection of the body. As you exhale, envision any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. Let your next inhale bring you up into your chest and upper back, shoulders, arms, and hands. Visualizing as you breathe out, you're washing out any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. Bring awareness now into your neck, throat, face, head, and scalp. Visualize as you breathe out. You're sending with it any and all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. Count 5 more breaths. Now slowly take one foot to the top of that bolster. And just set it down to the floor where it's flat. And then stack both feet on top of the bolster. Once the feet are stacked on top, just rock the knees gently side to side. Eventually hugging them into the belly and chest. Turning over to one side. Coming up to take a seat. Our practice. Bring in your hands to prayer. This week we took the first step in learning the koshas, the outermost layer. Next week we'll move to the second. Let's continue to respect and honor our bodies, be nourishing to our bodies. The light in mine bows and honors to the beautiful light that you hold within yours. Namaste.